Hello, I am Megan and welcome to Battle Royale with Cheese, the website you can get all of your TV and film, news reviews and trailers. And apologies, it's been a couple of weeks since the last video. I haven't been too well, plus I've had things to do outside of YouTube. I did put a community post up about this, but yeah, apologies in advance that it's been a couple of weeks since the last video. But I went to go see the Super Mario Galaxy movie yesterday. And yeah, this is one I've been really excited for. Even though I was quite late to the game, my first introduction to the game was when the remasters came out. So that was also Sunshine, 64 and Galaxy. That was when I got introduced to the game, but it very quickly became my favourite one. It's really, really cool. It's just really fun to play. So yeah, I was very, very excited when this got announced. The Super Mario Galaxy movie sees the Mario brothers once again defeat evil, but this time it's Bowser Jr. and their journey will take them across galaxies. I don't usually look at reviews before reviewing film myself because I don't want that to influence my own opinion, but I have seen, especially the IGN review, I've seen like a brief summary of the review, and I really, really enjoyed this film. I had a great time with it. I was smiling throughout the film. But I also was expecting certain things with this film. I wanted the film to just tell the story of Super Mario Galaxy. It did that and a little bit more, which I'll go into in the spoiler section actually. But yeah, that was my expectation. My expectations were more than met, but I think that is something to consider if you didn't enjoy the first film, and if you're expecting anything more than what I've just said, you probably are going to be disappointed. This is a telling of the game of Super Mario Galaxy, the first game, and it does do a little bit more with the storyline compared to the source material. But if you're expecting anything more than that, then yeah, you are going to be disappointed with this. But for me, I really, really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with it, and I was in a very, very packed cinema. And it seemed to be, the audience was sort of a mixture of people my age, so mid-30s, and parents and their kids. But everyone seemed to enjoy it. Everyone was having fun with it. Everyone was laughing at the jokes and the humorous parts. And yeah, it was really, really fun. Obviously, with this being a really pretty game, I think this is the prettiest Mario game. But it also means that the visuals have to match. This looks gorgeous. Especially, there's a few scenes that are shown from the trailer of like the shooting stars raining down past Princess Peach Castle and over Mushroom Kingdom that look amazing. They look gorgeous. But there's also other planets, so like the Bowser planet, which I think was also shown in the trailer. So I haven't spoiled anything. The casino scene, they look amazing. It is a visually beautiful film, and there's a lot of very pretty moments. Not just that, but the film has perfectly captured the worlds that Mario and Luigi and Princess Peach travel to, and they've also captured the likeness of the game very well. So there's a lot of game mechanics in here, there's a lot of worlds that you see, and a lot of different characters that actually even, a couple of them cross over from other Mario games. Again, I'm going to go into this a little bit more in spoilers, because I don't really want to spoil anything that was not in the trailers. But I was surprised with actually how much they showed, and very, very pleased as well. But they managed to also perfectly and beautifully capture the wonder of the universe that you encounter in the games. They perfectly captured that in the film, and yeah, visually it was incredible. And the original voice cast returned for this film, so Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, Chris Pratt as Mario, and Charlie Day as Luigi. I really, really liked Luigi and Mario's friendship and sibling relationship in this. I think, especially Chris Pratt, I always liked Charlie Day's voice acting in the first film. Chris Pratt, I think, did a good enough job, but you could tell he was, trying to get into the role. He wasn't quite comfortable there in the first film. I think he's improved a lot in this one. He has a slightly different accent compared to the first film, but I think it works for the Mario character. And it just feels a lot more confident. Charlie Day, I'll always love him as Luigi. I think he's great. And again, I do think Chris Pratt is great as Mario, and actually even better here. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. I really liked her in the first film. I don't think she did a very good job here. Even though she said her lines fine, it didn't really seem to carry any emotion. Like, no matter what she said, it felt very flat and very dull, which was a real shame because I think she did a really good job in the first film, but it just didn't really land here, and that is a real shame. But we have a couple of new characters. So Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. I thought was fantastic, and especially later on in the film, I thought he did really, really well. I think the casting choice was intentional because he does sound like Jack Black's Bowser. That was definitely intentional and on purpose, and he does a great job. I really, really liked the Bowser Jr. that was portrayed in this film. And Brie Larson as one of my favourite Mario characters. She is voicing Rosalina, and she was great. I loved the Rosalina portrayal in this film. She was amazing. She was caring, but she was also like protective of the Luma stars that are essentially her children. She looks after them, she takes care of them, and they see her as a parent figure, and you can see that, not just through her words, but through her actions as well. Like, she really cares for them. And I think Brie Larson did a fantastic job here. I do think she's a really good actress, and even her voice acting was great. And like I said, going back to Mario and Luigi, I did really like their friendship in this film. I like as well that Luigi had more to do, because if you remember in the first film, he was mostly a prisoner. In the majority of the first film, he was just in a cage and that was it. But I like that they gave him more to do this time round, and he goes through a mixture of personalities. He goes through a character growth, essentially, going from someone who's quite scared of everything to being quite confident towards the end. Princess Peach is also another character that gets more screen time. This was in the trailer, but there is a whole sequence with her in the casino planet where she does get more screen time, and I really did like that. Did I always think the plot she was involved with worked? No, not really, but I like that they gave her more screen time and more time on her own to shine. I did really enjoy that, even if I thought some of it wasn't really necessary, but I still enjoyed it at the same time, so I guess it did something, and I guess it was worth it in the end. So that's all I've got to say in terms of non-spoiler stuff. I really, really enjoyed Super Mario Galaxy Movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I definitely want to go see it again, and yeah, I thought it was great. I don't think all of the voice acting landed, but I think most of it was actually pretty good. Chris Pratt as Mario definitely feels a lot more comfortable and confident here, and I really, really like that. I'm glad that that is the case. And I also loved the portrayal of Bowser Jr. for the most part, as well as Rosalina. I absolutely loved it. Thought it was fantastic, and yeah, if you haven't watched it and do want to go see it, I really recommend it. But I would say, if you liked the first film, you're probably going to like this one. If you didn't, then go in with an open mind. Go in with an open mind. I still really recommend this, but yeah, I guess manage your expectations is what I'm saying. So, we've done the non-spoiler part. I am going to do a little spoiler section because there's just a couple things I want to talk about. So, let's go. Okay, I'm going to talk about this first just to get this out of the way, because the main thing I want to talk about is Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s like weird relationship that I was a bit unsure about. So let's talk about the references, because there was a lot. So as well as obviously the music, the Mario music that came in occasionally, I thought that blended well with the actual soundtrack that was composed for the film. One of the pieces that especially stood out to me was when Princess Peach goes into the casino planet, and that was really, really cool. That looked amazing, where it was like a cubed room, but you could go up all the walls and scale the walls. That looked amazing. But the music that was playing, I can't remember the name of it, but it's from Mario Odyssey. I loved that. I thought that was great. When her and Toad are about to go off to the space junk galaxy, they're trying to find a ship to take them there. And they arrive in this like main station. It looks like a giant like train station or something. But there was the characters from Super Mario Sunshine, which I liked. Later on as well, when Bowser Jr. is picking a weapon from his like shelving unit, there's the Super Mario Sunshine like watering can thing that Mario has on his back, which I really liked as well. That's also one of my favourite ones. I know you can't tell because I can't remember the name of them. I promise it is. I haven't played that one in a very long time, to be fair. But I liked that they were included in here. That was really, really cool to see. But going back to the scene where Princess Peach and Toad are in the I guess airport type place, she approaches the ship and a bunch of Pikmin jump out, which is really cute. This was something that was actually teased just, I think, last week actually, or a few days ago. But it was really cool to actually see that, because I didn't see every character cameo like poster that was released by Nintendo. The one that I didn't expect to actually properly be a character in this film was Fox McCloud. So Fox McCloud is from Star Fox, and in the film he's voiced by Glenn Powell. He was awesome. Star Fox is another one that I'm familiar with, but I've never played myself. I've just seen videos of. But it looks like a really cool game. His scenes were really, really fun. I wish he'd been in it a lot more. And I know that's weird to say because it's a Mario film, but it was really fun to see that. We need to get a Star Fox film. Come on, Nintendo, we need a Star Fox film now. Like, you've shown us this character and what he can be like in a film, and he's great. So maybe that's the next one. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed his scenes. And then the last reference I want to bring up, which, to be fair, I don't know if this is a reference, but it just seemed a bit too on the nose for it. There's a scene where Peach and Mario are trying to get to Bowser Castle, and Bowser Jr. basically brings up a console, presses a red button, and says, "Prepare to meet your maker," and a whole big obstacle course, like an impossible obstacle course, just appears in front of Peach and Mario, which they have to go through. I can't help but feel like there's a reference to Mario Maker. It probably isn't, but it just seems a bit too on the nose for it not to be. But that was a really, really fun scene. But yeah, I did think of Mario Maker. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know, but it had to have been. So the last thing, and this is the big thing I want to talk about, that I couldn't talk about before spoilers, is Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s relationship. I'm so conflicted on this still, and I don't know if I like what they did with this or not. So at the beginning of the film, this is actually in the trailer, but at the beginning of the film, Bowser is showing that he's basically rehabilitating himself. He's trying to be the good guy. And for the first act, it does seem like he's actually going to help Mario and Luigi. There's a point where they end up crashing onto a planet that belongs to a bunch of B characters, which I apologise if they are from the games, I didn't recognise them. But Bowser basically sacrifices himself, and I was like, oh, he's helping the heroes? Okay, that's kind of bold of him to do, considering that he's the main villain of the franchise. But then later down the line, obviously he meets Bowser Jr., they reunite, and he decides, oh, I'm going to go back to my villain ways, because Bowser Jr. basically acted out what our plan was ever since he was a baby. Now, writing-wise and narrative-wise, I understand that Bowser has to end up being a villain. I understand that. He has to be the villain at the end of the day because he is the Mario villain. I understand that. But it just seemed a bit forced in the way that for a while it seemed that Bowser was trying to stop Bowser Jr. from killing Mario and Luigi. There's a moment where he's about to shoot the main cast and Bowser basically stops him and said, wait, no, I've kind of come to know these guys and they're actually not that bad. And it could have turned into son versus father, especially when Bowser at the beginning says, oh, I've been a terrible father to Bowser Jr. I don't think he'd want to see me. So I really thought there was going to be a conflict there. But at the same time, I do understand that Bowser has to end up just becoming the villain at the end of the day, because he's the villain of the franchise. But I don't know, I feel like that would have been an interesting way to like differentiate from the source material instead of just doing the exact same thing as the game. But at the same time, I also understand if you suddenly make Bowser the good guy, that's going to be a bit weird. Because even as he was sacrificing himself for Mario and Luigi, I did end up thinking, okay, that's quite surprising. That's a bit different for him. Like, he wouldn't do that. So I think for me, I either wish they'd done two things. Either Bowser goes up against his son, which would coincide with and stay consistent with, oh, I was a terrible father to my son. That stays consistent because Bowser will see that. Bowser will see his behaviour and his change of behaviour and think, okay, well, you're not gonna raise me in the correct way, which is the villain way. I'm gonna go against you. Or Bowser never has his, like, good guy moments. He never has that. He stays little and then ends up still being really villainous no matter what. And then we get the moment where they're on that planet and Mario stomps on Bowser, ending the shrinking spell. But I think having both just felt a bit odd. So I think they could have stuck with one or the other. I will say though, I did kind of like that Luigi and Bowser were friends though. I did kind of like that. It felt a bit weird considering what happened with the first film and what Luigi went through. But I thought it was kind of funny that Luigi kind of quickly forgave him, because that is in Luigi's nature, that is his character. Like, it makes sense for him to do that, but it still was quite funny. They were basically just friends, and he was like, oh yeah, you know, forgive Bowser, Mario, it's okay. He's going to be friendly, he'll be fine. But this was my review on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I definitely want to go see it again. I had a lot of fun with this. Couple of moments where I thought, I don't know. I think the voice acting for the most part was really good. There was a couple of moments of voice acting that I didn't really like. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this. I thought this was great. But I was Megan. This is Battle Royale with Cheese. See you soon.